Wait. So it is recording. Okay. Hi, my name is Anna.
Hi, I'm Liza.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Before we get started, I just kind of want to go over some important points. First of all, as you may already know, I am a graduate student here at UW-Platteville, so I am working alongside a professor. So at times I may have to share some of the information we discuss in here with her, and that's just, to better our therapy sessions. With that, I would never share any distinguishing information, such as your appearance or your name. The next thing I want to talk about is confidentiality. I just want you to know that what stays in here is completely, confidential. It does not leave the room at all. And I just really wanted to tell you that because it's really important, because if you don't trust me, then you're not going to share stuff with me, and that's not going to help at all. The only time I'd have to break, that would be as if you did share that you were going to hurt yourself or hurt someone else. That's just, we want to keep everybody safe. And as you may have noticed over there, we are video recording this, and I am required, just being a graduate student. And I use it as a learning tool for myself. But if it does make you uncomfortable during the interview, at any time, feel free to just tell me, and I'll go over there, shut it off, and we can continue on without it. I know that was a ton of information. Do you feel pretty comfortable with everything?
Definitely.
Okay. And then I guess we can just get started with our first session.
Okay.
What brought you in today?
Well, I just took a pretty big step in my life, I think, and moved back home with my parents, with my two daughters, and have made the decision to file for divorce from my husband. So, pretty big step that I just took, and would like to just kind of talk through it a little bit.
So it sounds like you're going through, many different changes, lots of new things.
Yeah, definitely. We lived up in Baraboo, which is about 2 hours from my hometown, which is where I moved back to. So wanted to establish residency there for about a month before I actually do file for divorce. But it's been kind of a long road coming. It's something that I think I've just been kind of working towards for a long time. And now, just to help keep myself and my daughter safe, I think it's the right choice for me and them.
I think it's an important step, coming in here and talking to somebody, especially if you're having those feelings, where you have all these emotions. And
yeah, definitely. So, it's. I feel good. I feel relieved that I'm back home with my parents. It's a safe place. They're worried about our safety, and so I feel good about it. I'm not worried and kind of nervous about what's going to come in the future, which is a big reason why I'm coming in and talking. Just to have someone help me work through those different emotions that I'm probably going to have throughout the process. So yeah.
When you bring up the word safety, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. My husband and I have been married for about 4 years, and our daughters are 3 and 2. But our relationship has been pretty tumultuous and, I would say, toxic since the beginning. He's got some health problems, and he's an alcoholic, and he has bipolar disorder. So if he's sober and if he's on his medication or being compliant with his medication, he's a lot different. But he's gone through a lot of relapses, and he can be really abusive and kind of sporadic about whether or not he's at home. And with having the 2 kids around, I kind of just don't want them to see the abuse and don't want them to be in a bad situation. He's attacked me mostly verbally, but he's done some physical things too, and he's verbally attacked my parents and my grandparents even. So once we moved up to Baraboo from Shellsburg, which was about 6 months ago, after he left us and moved up there, and I thought we'd give it one last shot and move up there just to see if we could work it out. They were really worried about if the girls and I were safe up there, being and I can understand where they were coming from, and I was scared too at times. So yeah, I think they're just happy, and I feel better too that we're out of that situation. And they were just worried about, I don't know if they were worried about him doing something physically to me. Um, my mom, I think, overreacts sometimes, but I can see her perspective for sure.
Well, I commend you, on, recognizing that you were in that unsafe situation and then taking the step to, move away and move in with your parents. And I know that's hard when, you have two incomes coming in and
Yeah. It was not really, I guess it wasn't really a super hard choice to move home. I wasn't happy up in Baraboo anyway, and like I said, we were up there for about 6 months. And we would come home on the weekends just to get away from the nasty situation. But I guess what really prompted me to kind of get going on everything was this email that I saw from his mom to him, telling him that he should file for divorce from me and do it now, right away, because they could have the divorce proceedings up in Sauk County, where his family has a lot of money and a lot of pull, I guess is what they were thinking. And that scared the crap out of me, and so I was like, well, no time like now to do it, because I didn't see our marriage working out anyway. So that just kind of propelled me into moving home, I guess, quicker.
I can understand how, be feeling completely lost.
Yeah, it was. And I'm sure it's going to get more difficult throughout the whole process once I file for divorce, but I know that I'm in a better situation, a better place, and so are my daughters.
So far, kind of what we've talked about, what you've kind of talked me through so far is, you were in this relationship with your husband for, a couple of years, you're married, you have your two daughters, and they sound wonderful. And then you've moved in recently with your parents. And you talked about wanting to discuss kind of the emotions moving, forward and the things you're going to have to do. Would you also in therapy want to discuss, like, just the divorce and how that's affecting you, or do you want to mostly focus on the other side?
I mean, I'm open to discussing anything, and I know that the divorce is going to be a pretty big part of my life, so it'd be nice to talk to someone who's, I guess, outside of the situation, just to help us, get all the dirty details out, and for me to work through that, and also to keep my end goal in mind and know that the divorce is the right thing. So, my family can tell me that a million times, but, and of course I appreciate the support, and I know they're right too, but sometimes it's nice to talk to someone who doesn't know me and who doesn't know every little detail about the situation, just to kind of get it out.
Yeah, so you value being able to talk to somebody else and, besides having family tell you and validate, what you're going through, have somebody else who's an outsider also be able to, validate what you're going through and help you work through it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, going forward again in the therapy session, you want to just describe, kind of, we talked loosely about the feelings you're going to have going forward. Could you describe some of that for me, or?
Yeah. Well, like I don't know if I touched on it, but I feel relieved. That's huge. Because there was so much stress and tension when I was living with him. I'd be worried about when he was coming home, and as soon as I would hear the garage door open, I would, usually hope that I was asleep before that happened. But if I did hear it, it would just kind of fill me with anxiety. And I was really alone up there, so of course I had my daughters, but I just really didn't have a support system. So I do feel relieved getting out of that situation. It feels like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders, and that's something that I never really realized I felt before. But before he moved up to Baraboo, and we were still living in Shelburne as a family, when he was gone, he was intensely for days at a time. I would feel that weight lifted off my shoulders then too, and things would be so much easier when he wasn't home. Even though we still had our arguments over the phone, he wasn't there. Like, his presence wasn't there, and it just was better for me and the girls. So that relief is huge. And then, of course, I also have some conflicting feelings. I feel guilt you know, for having my daughters most likely not growing up with typical nuclear family, because that's what I had. I had my parents were, you know, married, and my siblings and I were all, you know, happy with how our family was, and my aunts and uncles were all married, and my grandparents were married, and we had this huge family that did so much together, and we were always, you know, doing fun things, and we were all happy. There's guilt there that my daughters won't have that, at least as far as the mom and dad, happy mom and dad go. But still, I know that the situation without their dad is better than us being together. You know, I guess I feel a little bit of guilt about leaving him too, that because he just has a way of making you feel bad for him. So I know that that's something that I need to work through, and I definitely kind of have a little bit of guilt towards him, or towards myself for leaving him, and I pity him sometimes, but there's a lot of ill feelings toward him too. So there's like, you know, some sadness, some anger, like I said, relief. There's a lot. There's a lot of
guilt on both, you know, both sides.
Yes. And I'm just gonna have to I guess, cope with those feelings. I think it's normal. You know, I need to be able to know that just because I'm feeling guilty today, it doesn't mean that I should be going back to him. You know, if he made me feel sorry for him talking to me on the phone or something, I need to know that I'm not going to go running back to him just because I feel bad, you know.
Keep looking forward and seeing the larger picture and looking ahead.
Yeah, definitely, because I really think this is the best decision for myself and for my daughters, and for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you also said, you know, you did mention the feeling of guilt, you know, that you're feeling, but then you also mentioned a lot of feelings that a divorce has brought up that are, you know, good.
Yeah.
You know, good emotions and, you know, all the benefits too. And I think it's, you know, important to focus on a lot of the good things that are coming out of this. And, you know, the negative stuff sometimes weighs us down, but
definitely. Yeah. I just lost my train of thought, but I don't know what I was gonna say.
It's okay, no problem.
Yeah, it's going to be a long road. He's a pretty difficult person, but I know I can be difficult too, and I just want to do what's best for the kids. So, and if for some reason, you know, they have a better relationship with him after all of this, that's good for them too, because, you know, I know sometimes parents are good on their own and not good together. So, you know, I'm kind of skeptical because being a dad or having responsibilities is not his strong suit. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise me.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
That would be, you know, good.
It would be the best for them.
He turns around.
Yeah, it would be the best thing for them because, you know, that is important for kids to have a healthy relationship with both parents for sure, and that's what my hope is. But you know, I left him for a reason, and there's a lot that we don't mix very well together, and he just has. I mean, I hate to say that he has too many issues for me to handle, but when he doesn't take care of himself, and we have two little kids, I can't, you know, try to take care of him too. So
you need someone supporting you too.
Yeah, right. I need a partner in parenting and everything in life, and that just wasn't happening.
So, have you worked on any? Like, what are you doing right now to help with all these emotions or to get you through? I know you have your parents to talk to, and you're taking the step to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other coping mechanisms that you've been using?
I guess not necessarily. I mean, the biggest help is that I'm not alone, and I have my family there. You know, my daughters are 3 and 2, so
A building might have just fell down next door.
my daughters are 3 and 2 years old, so I mean they're pretty little and they take a lot of my attention. So you know.
Keeping preoccupied.
Yes, I have a lot of preoccupations. Yeah.
Do do you find yourself though when you do have the like free time, is it harder to keep positive and stay focused on the future and stuff, or are you doing pretty?
I sometimes lose sight of the big picture, and like I said, sometimes he can make me feel really guilty about things and make me question um, if I really wanted to file for divorce or if I really want to be away from him. But he goes through these cycles where he can be like so charming and so nice and gives me tons of like really positive attention, but in the blink of an eye, he's back to being abusive and making me feel like I'm this big, and um, and I don't want to go back there because even now it's affecting me. So I know I need to also work through that, build up my self worth, my self esteem, because over the years that we've been married, it's really kind of taken a toll on me. So.
I mean, communicate. Since you do have the two daughters with him, communicating is going to be.
Yes.
It's going to be key. You're going to have to communicate it with him, for 18, plus years still.
Yes.
So, and if he's going to, continue where he has those two different sides to him.
Yeah, I worry about the effect that it's going to have on our daughters, because I don't want them to think that it's their fault if he turns on them and starts yelling. And yeah, and like you said, I'm going to have to communicate with him, and that's so hard to swallow because I like to, in my past relationships, if it doesn't work out, I can turn my back and walk away and never talk to the person or speak about them again, which maybe that's not good to do anyway, but I can't do this in this situation. And it's probably the situation that I most wanted to do it in my whole life because it's been such a damaging relationship for me. So I have to be able to cope with, co-parenting, I guess is what you would say. And that's going to be really hard. It's going to be a lifetime thing.
On one hand, I hear, that you do really value your daughters having, that father figure.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, you're kind of, stating that he, isn't maybe the best, father figure, and that also worries you.
Absolutely.
So I think maybe that's something we can kind of, would probably want to discuss.
Yeah, that would be great because there is a lot of anxiety there about his parenting skills, and I worry about what he's going to do to them and what he's going to do to their self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe I assume that he'll do the same thing to them as he's done to me, and whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But I definitely need to be able to come to terms with that, and I guess give him a chance with the girls and let him try.
Do you have a visitation, schedule, or is he seeing them on a regular basis currently?
Right now, well, since I haven't even filed for divorce yet, sometimes I'll take them up on the weekends. But I've never been away from them. Like he's never had them by himself, and they have a hard time going with him. And we're pretty attached with each other because I've been a stay-at-home mom with them since they've been born. So our relationship is a lot closer than his relationship with them. So right now it's just him seeing them when I take them up. But I think it's going to be a big custody battle once it comes down to actually going through the divorce. And I'm worried about that, not being away from them ever for a night. Yeah, that's going to be really tough.
How far? I'm just trying to conceptualize this. How far away are you guys, currently from each other? Is there a big distance?
Yeah, well, it's about 2 hours. So I live in Shellisburg and he's up in Baraboo, so almost 2 hours away. So it's a pretty significant.
And you're living with your parents currently, but are you planning on getting a new place, or just staying right now until things get more kind of settled?
Right now, I'll stay with my parents, and we actually have a house in Shellisburg that we bought together. When I moved up to Baraboo with the girls, we rented it out to a family. So in about a month or so, they're going to be moving out, and then I'll be moving myself and my daughters back into that house. So that'll be nice. I mean, I definitely appreciate my family, and I'm at my parents' house like all the time anyway, even when I have my own place. But it'll be nice to be back home, into our home.
Get your little family kind of back together.
Yeah, have our own space. And I mean, like I said, I love my parents, and I'm so appreciative adult and you have kids, you don't really want to be. I mean, I want to feel more like independent, like I'm actually being a good mom.
And it's hard when they're there and you probably have different opinions and views and
they like to try to.
And grandparents can be.
They like to. Like grandma likes to give them candy whenever she wants to and everything else. So.
Well, I really looked. Sorry, I really enjoyed talking with you today, and and I feel like we discussed a lot of stuff. So. Time is running a little short right now, but I mean we can reschedule next week if it sounds like something you would do, and we can continue on this road.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
So are you keeping things?